So Fortnite has had a good amount of mythic pistols ever since Chapter 2 Season 2. So in this video, I'll rank all 8 of them from worst to best. But before we get into it, I'd appreciate it if you'd subscribe to Hermes. 6,000 subs by the end of the year. Now without further delay, let's get into it. In 8th place is Deadpool's hand cannons, and this was a pretty disappointing weapon when it first came out. It dealt 21 damage a hit and 34 for a headshot, and compared to others on the list, it just isn't good enough. It has a fire rate of 3.6, which isn't horrible, but it's not very good either. It's kind of just in the middle. It has a max size of 18, which isn't very good for a pistol that's semi-automatic, as they're usually around 30, and has a reload speed of 2.16 seconds, which is decent, but it's nothing crazy. So overall, this gun was just bad. There isn't a single stat that stands out as good in the slightest, but it did have an ability that gave you 3 effective health at every shot you hit, and it would be a good ability if it shot like faster, but it's way too slow, so you could only heal like 9 health a second, which just didn't help you at all. And that's if you hit every single shot, so the healing here was just irrelevant, and the ability didn't do anything in practice. In 7th place is the enhanced hyper burst pistol, and it dealt 18 damage a shot, which is pretty bad, and it's the lowest base damage been on the list. Did 36 for a headshot, which could help get some extra damage off while spraying someone, but again, it isn't too crazy. At a fire rate of 9, which is by far its best stat, and it's the fastest one on the list by a mile. And this gun specializes in just pure speed, which can help add up damage over time. It basically kills someone from 1,000 paper cuts. It had a max size of 18, which isn't very good, but it did have a pretty short reload speed of 1.1 seconds, so you could get back to shooting pretty fast. Overall, this gun just speed incarnate. 6th place is the enhanced DL44 blaster pistol, and then this had different stats depending on if you were hip firing or not, so I'll go over them separately. While hip firing, you did 44 damage a hit, which is pretty solid, and the headshot would do 88 damage a hit, which is very good, and you can get some great damage off with this. Now onto ADS, and it did 49 damage a hit and 98 for a headshot, so it did some insane damage for a semi-auto pistol. It had a fire rate of 0.35, so it even shot like pretty fast for how much damage it did. It had infinite ammo, which is a good positive, and it had a cooldown speed of 1.8 seconds, so you can get back to shooting pretty fast. And this gun, which is amazing for getting off great damage from close to mid-range with a decently fast pistol. In 5th place is Baron's double down pistol, and it did 102 damage a hit, so it hit for a truck. It did 178 for a headshot, so even more damage there. It had a fire rate of 1, so it was decently slow, but it did so much damage that doesn't really matter. It had a max size of 2, so you didn't have to reload as much, and it had a reload speed of 1.8 seconds, which is pretty short. And overall, the weapon is just great for pure damage, but it wasn't very fast. In 4th place is Dr. Doom's Monarch pistol, and it had different stats depending on if you were hip firing or aiming down sights, so I'll go over them separately. While hip firing, you did 49 damage a hit, so you could get some pretty good damage off. A headshot will do 86 damage, so it was pretty great for damage in general, and it had a fire rate of 2.4, so it shot pretty fast. While aiming down sights, you would do 81 damage a hit, which is amazing. If you had a headshot, you would do 142 damage, which is amazing, but in exchange, you'd shoot slower with a fire rate of 1.6. But it's still pretty fast. It had a max size of 9, so you could shoot a lot before having to reload for 2.34 seconds, which is average. It also had a red eye sight, so you'd be more accurate with it. And this gun was just accurate, and it had amazing damage with pretty good speed. In 3rd place is the modular conductor hand cannon, and it did 103 damage a hit, so it did amazing damage, and it had a headshot, 185 damage a hit, so it was just phenomenal. And after with the nerf pump, it had a fire rate of 0.7, so it was very slow, but for how much damage it did, I think it's worth it. It had a max size of 8, which is pretty good. It had a reload speed of 1.45, which is great. It had attachments, the first one being the Halo 13 sight, so you could be pretty accurate with it. It had a speed mag, which made the reload speed 20% faster. It had a laser, which made you more accurate while hip firing. And lastly, it had a muzzle brake, which reduces recoil. So overall, it was amazing for accuracy and damage. The only negative is that it was pretty slow, so it's an amazing pistol all around. In 2nd place is the enhanced Wrecker revolver, and it did 94 damage a hit, which is great, and it had a headshot damage of 155, so it does amazing damage. It has a fire rate of 1.38, so it shot decently fast. It had a max size of 8, which is good for a pistol. It has a reload speed of 2.89, which is below average, but it's not horrible or anything. And overall, it did great damage with good range and accuracy, and it's pretty much a fast shotgun that has good range, so it's an amazing gun. But in 1st place is the kill switch revolvers, and it did 47 damage a hit, which is great, and a headshot would do 82 damage, which is also pretty good, and it shot pretty fast as well with a fire rate of 3, so you could get that damage off pretty fast. It has a max size of 12, so you could shoot for a good bit before reloading for 1.91 seconds, which isn't too long. And the best part of it is that it has an ability that if you jump in and aim, you enter hang time, which slows you down in the air, and it gives you perfect accuracy. So this gun has great damage, shoots pretty fast, and it legit has perfect accuracy, so I'd say it gets 1st place. But that's the end of my video. If you enjoyed it, I'd appreciate it if you'd like and subscribe to help me reach 6,000 subs by the end of the year. Also, comment on the video in the future. And lastly, Cash Henry has some extra money you can get, but let's not find me. Goodbye.